I'll give you 3 magic words that'll get your company going. Number 1, put in another 2 or 3 hours a day as founders. Do not give up an opportunity and control your costs. This is the time and period when companies must control your costs. And this is for everybody. If you're an individual, control your costs in your house, your shopping. Stop going extra things outside to eat. Save money. Because as the time gets harder, the people that have the money will win and will be able to survive. And work harder. Everybody. If the leaders work hard, the employees will work hard. Employees work hard, the people under them, the teams will work hard. The management will work hard, the teams will work hard. You have to put in more hours. The success of Silicon Valley today is nothing but pure work. Silicon Valley people work. And these are wealthy people. They work. If you're going to come in for 8 hours and put in 6 hours of work, that means imagine if you have a force of 100 employees and they all work only 6 hours, that's 600 hours. If they work 8 hours, that's 800 hours. So if you have a 100-person company, you got 200 hours more of work. How are you going to compete? The other guys that are working 600 hours can't compete because they'll have to hire more people to match up the 200 hours. Right? So that means $200 is what? 200 divided by 30 is what? You have to have 60 more employees to match up the company that has employees that actually work 8 hours. And fail. Just last night at about 10 o'clock, I usually go to sleep at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the night. And 2 nights ago, there's somebody in my house wanting to get signatures on something done because it had to be delivered next morning. He must have gone back at about 11 o'clock in the night. Next morning, at about 4 o'clock, he texted me, he said, we need one more signature. This gentleman doesn't know how to do it. Very successful man, but it had to be done. So when you're coming out of college, think once the job begun, leave it not till it's done. No matter how big or small, I do it well. Keep integrity and honesty of your mind in there. Don't shortchange anything. So I think leadership, leadership has got a lot to do with every company, and you got to lead from the top. And I said this to somebody a long time back, a few years back. I was talking at an event, and I said, do you know that Tim Cook was walking to Apple Computers and he was stopped at the gate on Sunday at about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning. And I asked them, I said, can you tell me why Tim Cook, that's got $300 billion sitting in cash, a company that has, he's the head of the company, and he was stopped at the gate by security. Why? And the reason was Sunday, he wouldn't come in on Sundays normally. He comes in on Mondays. And the security people didn't recognize him, asked him security. But why would he need to come on a Sunday? Because he had a presentation to do on Monday. He wanted to make sure he looks through it. How many leaders, and I look at within ourselves, even come to the office before 10 o'clock in the morning? Would you come on a Sunday at 6 o'clock? So work ethics is critical to success. If the leader himself is not going to show that work ethics, you can't really, you will succeed, but you won't have that immense growth that you would want. So you must have, leadership must work hard, play straight, absolutely straight. Ethics are the fundamentals of growth of any company. And your product, always do more, deliver more than you think you should. So if you're making this, spend more time. How can I make it better? How can I do it better? In anything you do, insurance or insurtech or any other, any line of product you have, just try and make it better. Deliver more than your expectation. I think when you can do more things in life morally and ethically correct that you chose to do. That's what your success. So if I wanted to be a teacher and I'm teaching students all my life, I'm successful. I think where we miss out is we count success with material gains. And I don't think that's success. Success doesn't mean I had an exit in a company with $100 million. Success means I build something that didn't exist in the world that does good today, or is progressively doing better in certain industries. So for example, imagine that today, in this little pocket, I can listen to a song of Mehdi Hassan, who's a Pakistani singer, passed away, in digital quality, that when I heard in 1971 on a record LP, long playing record, those big long,
I remember those.
And they would be scratched out, and the sound would be distorted. 40 years later, I'm listening to the same song in better quality. That's ingenuity, right? And for what? Steve Jobs one day got up in the morning and he said, I'm going to take Sony by storm. Sony Walkman was the music instrument. He knew nothing about music, but he wanted to take that on. That's his success. First, you have to venture into space where nobody's there. So don't fear. Agar koi kehta hai ki this nobody's done. Pehle kisi ne kyun nahi kiya? That doesn't matter. Just go do it, because all the more reason you need to do it. Do not fear whether your success is not. Your success should not be how much money you'll make out of it. It should be how many problems will we solve with that. Is it, are you coming to a solution? So the first basis of everything that I've created, and I'll tell you jokes along the way that have happened in life. And it's luck also. With me, it's luck. If there is a need, that old saying, mother of invention is the creation of every need, right? So if there's a need out there, you'll invent something. So make sure that the need, it doesn't have to be big or small. There's enough people you think will need this. If you focus on that and then take out all the pain points. So if you get up in the morning, if I was, 16 years old when I started my first company, what I did is I said, what are things in clothing today that I need are not available when I go to Bandar or Tariq Road and I don't get it.
Sure.
Let's create that, because if I need it, then others will need it. So in the same token, if I'm now looking at a solution, when I get up in the morning and I go to my car and I open my door and the door doesn't open, I'll figure out, how do we create this door to open? So think freely.
Yeah.
Don't figure out how you'll solve the problem. Think of the pain first. Once you get to the pain, and if the pain is big enough and there's enough people in that pain, you can then create. Second point I'll give you is, do not discount quality and delivery. If you look at the iPhone, I actually, when you open the iPhone box up,
Sure. Yeah.
right, you just open the box up, it gives you, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
The details. Don't shortchange. If you're going to give up that 9-to-5 job where your paycheck is guaranteed, I can guarantee you, if somebody pays you $100 an hour as a 9-to-5, you must be worth $200 an hour. Otherwise, they won't pay you that, right? They may be an idiot to pay you $200 an hour if you're worth only $100. So you will make more. You'll make much more on your own than you ever will for somebody else. But there's a price to pay. You don't have that security. You'll work long hours, you'll work many hours, but you'll work your hours. So, when the World Cup was playing in India and we wanted to fly down and go see it, we just sat on a plane and went there. I didn't have to give my vacancy leave or vacation notice to my boss. But yeah, that football game that my son wanted me to be on, guess what? I had a meeting with the VC. So I said, honey, can you take the son to the football game? I can't be there. So there's a give and take.
Okay.
I think in running your own stuff. You never look at the cup. You chase the finish line. You never look at the cup. What happens is when we motivate ourselves to the cup, we think of how much money did I end up making at this. You look at the finish line. Now, when you're running in the finish line, and I was, I had taken a double promotion in school, and I got to a class where the boxing tournament was on, and I joined the boxing tournament. And the guy, I was in the preliminary rounds. The guy didn't show up to battle with me, so I got promoted to quarterfinals. In the quarterfinals, the guy didn't show up, so I got to the final. And in the final, the real guy showed up, and he punched the shit out of me. And I was Muhammad Ali, rope and dope, trying to hide my face everywhere. But you know what? I got to the end. I got to the final. It didn't matter if I won. I remember my aunt, who lives now in Houston. She tells me she was crying. Why doesn't the ref stop this kid being beaten to shit? But that's what keeps me motivated all the time. I must get to the end. I must get to the. And if I drop down, I'll run again. And I tell I've got a grandson, and he fell down last week somewhere. And I told him, I said, hey, every time you fall down, get up forward. Don't get up with your back. Get it forward, because when you fell down, you got till there. Now you just got to get a little more. So that keeps you motivated all the time. And new visionary ideas. I always think of something that never been done. Keep doing what everybody else can be done. Yeah, because you no matter what product you take out, there's 3 ways you'll sell with a ton of money and billboards and ads and marketing. Yeah. Your best sales always is somebody says, you might try. How many people go to restaurants, never get paid for it, right? When you go to the restaurant, this was amazing food. That is your viral marketing, is your best marketing always. So if your product is good, your services, and at any cost, I've always believed that at any cost, repair the customer. Even if he's wrong, he's still right. What does that mean? That means if I bought the shoe, didn't work, and Nordstrom has that. Nordstrom is a clothing store in America. There was a story that a lady walked in. There were a shoe and clothing store at that time. Somebody walked in with a car tire. Said, this tire's got bad. And he says, we don't sell tires. Said, no, my wife only buys from Nordstrom. She said she bought it here. Actually, the true story, they returned it. They returned a tire. They didn't even sell it because they didn't want to upset the customer. There are no failures at all. There are really no failures in your business itself. They're just learning obstacles that you have to learn. And as you learn, sometimes, you take a class in mathematics, but you didn't need mathematics because you were going to go do something else. You're going to do art. You're going to make sculptures. But you will have failures. You think they're failures. They're just lessons for you to learn and keep moving forward. As long as the goal is the end, the goal is the end, you keep it. Write it down. What I used to do is every time I'm doing a new company and startup, and what we do is in my bathroom, if you go in on my mirror, on top of my mirror, I've got the company's ultimate sales goal written down there. And I see it every morning. And there are obstacles and failures that come in, but keep going forward because these are just lessons you learn. You can be in Pakistan, you can be in India, you can be in Sri Lanka, you can be in Philippines, you can be in Ukraine, in US, in Silicon Valley, in Canada, anywhere. It's the same formula. Be willing to give your time, your money, your knowledge to anyone without any expectations. Be willing to share your wealth of knowledge, time, effort, everything, without expecting that person will give you. Zig Ziglar says, do one thing good for someone who can do in a day that can do nothing for you in return.